Hello everyone, welcome back. Sorry, I'm feeling a bit under the weather, so if I sound weird, it's because my nose is plugged. I just recently finished reading this book, Mr. Johnson. I think I showed it to you a few weeks ago or a few videos back. And I kind of threw it, you know, hodgepodge in the pile. I wasn't really sure if I would like it or not. And surprisingly, I really liked it, okay? I haven't really given a lot of books 5 stars. I think I've got like Moby Dick, East of Eden, maybe Paradise Lost, like a few like heavy hitters. Surprisingly, at least right now, maybe it'll change the rating later, but this is a 5-star book for me, Mr. Johnson. And it's hard for me to articulate exactly why I like it. It was written by Joyce Carey, an Irishman. He served in the somehow with the government in Africa in the early 20th century, and he wrote this portrayal of Africa. Of course, it's fictional. I'm not really sure if it's accurate. I'm not sure he really thought it was accurate either. And of course, the book is racist in some degree. Of course, if you think that Joyce Carey is trying to make an accurate portrayal of Africa, it comes off as more racist. I'm not really sure he meant to do that. I think it's definitely more of a caricature. Of course, the main character, Mr. Johnson, is very much a caricature. But yeah, I just want to move past that. Okay, we get that it's racist. Okay, let's talk about the book. Now, another interesting thing about this, and I think I mentioned this the first time I talked about it, is that Chinua Achebe, the guy who wrote Things Fall Apart, was inspired to write his book Things Fall Apart about Nigeria because he read this and thought it was very superficial. Now, fair enough. I'm not sure that Joyce Carey was trying to make an accurate portrayal of Africa. I think that's a misreading of the text. If you read the book, it seems clear to me that the point is the development of the character Mr. Johnson. Like that's the point of the book, is to build up the lore of this character, not to like give an accurate portrayal of Africa. So anyways, I'll tell you a bit about the book and about the setting, but before we get more into that, I said before that I was having some trouble articulating exactly why I liked this book. And so we've got something to help us here. We've got this guide, okay? We've got a 10-point rating scale, and I've stolen this from another booktuber, Prose and Petticoats. I'm not sure what your real name is, sorry. That's your tag on YouTube. Thank you for this. I stole this off of your channel, and I'll be using it today to help me understand why I like Mr. Johnson. When I rate books on Goodreads out of 5 stars, it's purely an enjoyment factor, okay? It's Jonah's enjoyment scale. Now, this book is a 5 out of 5 on that scale, but it probably won't be as high on this rating scale because this one's like more comprehensive, and it's not based on necessarily enjoyment. I mean, number 10 here, entertainment value. That's, I guess, based on enjoyment. But the rest of these are more objective, I suppose. Anyways, yes, Mr. Johnson. It's set in British Africa, early 20th century-ish. I'm not sure. Maybe it does mention the year, but I don't remember. And it opens with the character of Mr. Johnson. Okay, Mr. Johnson is, how do I describe him? Physically, he's awkward. Okay, so it says on the very first page that he is loose jointed, and that his neck, arms, and legs are too long for his small body. So he's kind of misproportional or disproportioned, and like awkward and kind of like bumbling and gangly. And personality-wise, he is relentlessly optimistic, okay? This guy has been sad for maybe 15 minutes in his whole life, and he bounces right back, which is very admirable. I very like that. I like that about Mr. Johnson. He's also kind of naive and stupid and doesn't really think through the repercussions of his actions. He often, in the book, doesn't really have a strong moral code, and he is kind of able to like rationalize any of his decisions or actions one way or the other just by just like a few words, and then he's good to go. So he's not very consistent from a moral perspective. Anyways, let's summarize the plot quickly. So we open with Mr. Johnson meeting this beautiful girl who is the daughter of the ferryman, and one of the big themes of the book, I'm jumping all over the place, is this distinction between barbarity and civility. Of course, whenever British writers or write about Africa, this is one of the main themes, right? I'm thinking Joseph Conrad, right? Sort of that sort of style. there's a contrast between barbarism and civility, and this is one of the other big things about Mr. Johnson is he's a foreigner. He's from a different district in Nigeria, and he's working as a clerk in Nigeria still, but as a different district. But all of the more primitive, like bush people, still see him as a foreigner. They look at him, he looks like them, but he acts totally different. He's a foreigner. But to increase his foreignness, he has like white values, and so the things he thinks are cool and like amazing and like good are like monogamy and like wearing shoes, and he calls the King of England his king, and he pretends like he grew up in England. So it's very strange because like he wants to associate with his countrymen, but he's totally foreign to them. And so, oh, it's hot in this car. Jeez Louise. It's been sitting in the sun all morning, so that's probably why. Anyway, yes, the plot. So it opens on him finding the beautiful daughter of this ferryman, and he wants to marry her. Her name's Bamu, and she is very much, what's the right word? Not patriotic, but like she belongs in Africa. She's a primitive Nigerian. She's very just in tune with the culture. She has no desire to be civilized like Johnson. And so their whole marriage is basically a wreck because he is trying to like make her civilized and put on like this nice like settler dress, and she's like, "What? I don't want to wear that. I want to wear my cloth." And so it's very funny. Johnson likes her because she's beautiful. She just marries him out of duty because she gets a good dowry for her family, and so that's why they get married. And there's this big haggling scene where Johnson is trying to haggle with the brother and the father about the bridal price. It's very strange. And Johnson gets swindled, of course. He goes into the negotiation wanting to pay £10, and I think he ends up paying like 17 or something. And he's like, "Oh, it's a good deal." He doesn't really know what's going on. He's very, like I said earlier, he's very naive. Anyways, okay, I'll try to breeze over the rest of the plot quickly. So after him and Bamu get married, he starts working, or he's already been working for Mr. Rudbeck, who is like the governor, or I'm not really sure what all the titles are. He's some sort of, like, he's the highest local authority from Britain. What does he do? Keep the peace, develop things. Anyways, it's not really clear. But Mr. Rudbeck, his thing is that he likes roads. So you'll see several times throughout the book, Mr. Rudbeck is just like wanting to build roads. It's his big fixation. And so after a while of working with Mr. Rudbeck, he is making some money. We become more acquainted with Mr. Johnson and the fact that he's very bad with money. He throws big parties for everybody, and he just throws money away. He has no object. He doesn't really know how to count money, which is ironic because his job for Mr. Johnson, one of the things he does is, besides like writing letters, is he manages the books. So it's funny because he makes all the accounts in this cash book, but when he gets paid, he has no idea how to save money. So and when he throws parties, he is the life of the party. Everybody loves Johnson. He gives them free beer. He dances with them. He's very empathetic, right? If somebody's having a good time, he's there with them having a good time. If someone's grieving, all of a sudden he's sad and he's like right with them. So he's very, very empathetic towards other people. Anyways, Rudbeck has to go home to England, and the next governor that comes in that Johnson works with is named Tring. And Tring discovers that Johnson was helping Rudbeck to falsify the numbers so that he could move more money from other areas to help pay for the road. So it's not stolen money, but it's like mismanagement, I guess, of the funds. And so that's a scandal for Johnson. He doesn't lose his job over it, but it's kind of a scandal, not good for him. And Johnson's dismissed immediately. He has to go. So then he starts working as a cashier at the local store for another white guy named Sergeant Gollop, who's a retired military guy, and he's like the most racist guy in the book. He has like this native wife that he just beats all the time, but she like stays with him because he has money and like she loves him somehow still. It's kind of weird. I'm not really sure why they stay together. Anyway, and then Johnson and him get along quite well actually, despite the racism, and eventually Gollop's a puncher. Okay, he likes to hit people. He gets drunk a lot and hits them, but Johnson doesn't really mind. And one time he like, "Hey, I'm not scared of you," and he just punches him back. And Gollop, he's like, huh, nice punch. Like, he's not even mad about it. He's like, oh, cool. But then he's like, oh, well, I have to save face. Like, I can't have an employee punching me and then not being fired. So, like, we're friends, but, like, I gotta fire you. So Johnson disappears for a while. Tring has to go back to Britain for some reason. Rudback is called back in, and he's like, okay, road is going full steam ahead. So he starts building roads. One day, Johnson shows up, and he's like, oh, Johnson, like, good to see you. And Johnson's like, you give me some job, help with the road? And Rudback's like, sure. So Johnson gets some sort of managerial position, and I don't know what he does, if he's like buying everyone beer and he's paying drummers to come like make it a party. And because of Johnson, the road development goes so fast because everyone like loves hanging out with him. They work for him. They're having fun, getting drunk, working on the road. Everyone loves Johnson. Then finally, the road is done, so there's no more job for him. So he's like poor, and he just wants to keep living his lifestyle of buying his wife expensive clothing and throwing parties. So he takes his old key from the cash box for Gollop's store, and he steals money from the cash. And Gollop's not very good with money, so he doesn't even really notice for a while. And then he notices, also, this is near the end of the book now, so spoilers, a spoiler alert, if you haven't figured that out already. So then, he's caught robbing the store because Gollop knows that something's being stolen, so he waits with the shotgun. And he tries to shoot Johnson because he doesn't know who it is because it's dark. So he shoots, misses, Johnson stabs him and leaves. And then he just basically admits to it. He's like, yeah, it was me. After he like evades police for like a week, which is like unheard of. So he somehow manages to be very sneaky. And then, of course, he has to be tried by Rudback, who likes him. And the book gets very interesting at this point because Johnson's like, you're my friend, even though he has to be executed. And he's like, I think we're good friends. You'll shoot me. You're not going to hang me because that would be rude. But Rudback, of course, tries to get him off because he likes Johnson. But then the local, like the guy who's above Johnson or above Rudback, somewhere in some other station, sends him back a letter saying, hey, we don't approve your request to let him off. You have to hang him. So Rudback is very sad about the whole situation. And there's a really great quote near the end, actually. Well, I'll get to it eventually. But he's like, he feels like he really doesn't like what he has to do. So eventually, instead of following the regulations, he takes his rifle and just shoots Johnson and leaves. He's very sad about doing that. But he's a strange character. He's like, well, I had to. Not like he could have just like let Johnson escape. I'm not sure why he didn't do that. But anyway, okay, that's like the main thrust of the plot. Let's get into the 10-point objective rating scale. Okay, the first one on the scale here is writing style. It says evaluate the author's writing style considering factors such as clarity, coherence, and eloquence. Now, Joyce Carey, apparently, and we saw it in this book for sure, his main strength is not necessarily like ingenious plot and twists and stuff. It's more so character development. And when I first started reading the book, it was maybe a 3-star, and then it was a 4-star, and then by the end I thought it was a 5-star book. And the reason is not because the plot gets better and better. The reason is because I was charmed by the character of Mr. Johnson. He speaks in, I don't know what you'd call it, like with an accent, like the accent is written into the words. Like here's an example. It says, well, I'm not sure if this is Johnson speaking, but all of the Nigerian characters talk this way. Yeah, but who go pay dem witness? You think Mr. Rudback lend you money? Why, of course, he do everything for me. He my friend. He finest man in the world. Like it's at first it was kind of grating. I didn't really like reading it, and then I got past it and I was able to read it no problem. But what was I saying again? I forget. Anyways, number 1, writing style. Was it good? It was good, yes. Was it anything to write home about? Like the prose was like Melville or anything like that? No, it wasn't that level. So for writing style, well, I mean, let's establish what a 0 would be and what a 10 would be. I think a 0 would be like unreadable, and 10 is like the best ever. Probably like a 6. Yeah, it was simple, solid, readable. I liked it. It was good. We're gonna have to keep a running total here, and I'm bad at math. I don't have a pen. Okay, I'll try to remember here. Next one, plot/storyline. Assess the overall plot or storyline, taking into account its originality, pacing, and how well it holds your interest. Okay, so the genre of this book is like a tragedy comedy, Of course, very comedic the whole time. Johnson's hilarious, but it's a comedy or a tragedy because it ends in Johnson's death. So, was it original? There was no like really twist. I mean, I thought maybe Johnson might get away at the end, but then he ended up getting shot. So that was maybe a bit of a sad or like an unknown piece. The plot wasn't the highlight of the book. So I would say maybe like a 6 or a 7. Let's go 6.5. I don't know if 0.5 is allowed. Maybe Pros and Petticoats, you can weigh in on that if you ever do point or half numbers, or it always has to be full numbers. Okay, next one, number 3, character development. Consider the depth and complexity of the characters as well as their believability and how well you connect with them. Now, in terms of believability, of course, Johnson is not believable. He is a total caricature. But in some way, he's so fake that it's like, you can't make this up. Like, so it could be real. Like, it's like horseshoe theory. Like, it's so fake, it could be real. But of course, Joyce Carey, that's his department, character development. And that's why I love this book, is because I fell in love with Mr. Johnson. I was charmed by him. And so I would say, yes, character development, 10 out of 10. Number 4, world building / setting. Evaluate the author's ability to create a vivid and immersive world or setting. I haven't really read a lot of historical fiction books, and I don't know almost anything about Africa. I have read Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart, which was very different from this book. So was it believable? I'm not sure. Was it vivid and immersive? Yeah. I mean, Joyce Carey's not really like a descriptive author, like maybe Tolkien, right? Tolkien is like talking about the trees and like all sorts of things, like you just go on and on. Joyce Carey doesn't do that. So world building, yeah, like a 5 out of 10, probably. Pacing. Consider the pacing of the story. This is the 5th thing on the list. Whether it keeps you engaged without feeling rushed or dragging. Consider the pacing. Maybe I just haven't read a lot of good books in a while, but I definitely was invested in this one. It was easy to pick up, there's no chapter divisions. There's just like kind of like section divisions, but they're not numbered. So that's interesting. But it was easy to pick it up in any section and keep reading without like losing your spot. It wasn't too fast or too slow, so I would give pacing probably like an 8 out of 10. Okay, number 6 here, theme / message. Reflect on the underlying themes or messages in the book and how effectively they are conveyed. So yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure this is like a fair thing to put on like a rating list, because you don't want to force a work or a text to have a theme or a meaning. Like sometimes it just exists for its own sake. And sometimes even if it does have a theme or a meaning, it's not immediately obvious. And because it's obscure, that doesn't mean it's bad, right? So I'm not really sure how I want to rate this. In terms of the book, Mr. Johnson, I think the theme, of course, the broadest theme is this idea of civility versus barbarism, and whether or not civility as we think of it is a good thing. Here, I want to read the quotes, or the quote from Rudbeck near the end here. So my edition is page 247. So this is right at the end when Rudbeck is considering how he has to kill Johnson. And it says this: Rudbeck sits hunched in his chair. He is still dissatisfied, not with Johnson's explanation, for he knows that Johnson is actually a thief and a murderer, but with everything. He feels more and more disgusted and oppressed, like a man who finds himself walking down a narrow, dark channel in an unknown country, which goes on getting darker and narrower, while he cannot decide whether he is on the right road or not. So typically when we think of like the British bringing civilization to Africa, we think that like, well, we rightly assume that it's the native people there that are being oppressed by these rules and civility and like the white man's version of how life should be lived. And that's certainly the case. But then we have this inversion where Johnson loves all that stuff. He's like, the King of England is my king. And he's super enthusiastic about the whole civilization thing. Whereas Rudbeck, near the end, he thinks he likes civilization. That's what he stands for. That's his whole job in Africa. But here he is, and he's connected with this person of Johnson, and Johnson's a thief and a murderer, but he still loves him, and he's forced to condemn him and to kill him. And he feels like he's locked in, like that quote there. He's burdened and locked down and oppressed by these rules of civilization that are forcing him to take this action that he doesn't want to do. And so yeah, it's oh, my camera's getting a heat warning. It is hot in here, and it's forcing him to to do this thing. And yeah, so that's part of the main theme. I'm not really sure if there's like a definite message you have to take away from it, but anyways. Okay, let's speed it up here. 4 more things. Sorry, I got a rate theme message. 8 out of 10. Number 7, dialogue. Assess the quality of dialogue, considering if it feels natural and contributes to character development. Does it feel natural? I don't know. I mean, like I showed you before, the accents are kind of written into the text. Whether or not that's accurate, I don't know. I've never been to Nigeria. Don't know how the people talk there. But the dialogue is one of the main ways that he advances the character development. A lot of that stuff we know about Johnson and the way he acts is because of the dialogue. So dialogue, 8 out of 10. Number 8, originality. Consider the uniqueness and originality of the book, including any innovative elements or perspectives. This book, first book I've read like this, it is written in the present tense. So everything is happening currently. And I think Carey defends this in the introduction or preface, saying that like, this is the way that Johnson perceives the world. He's like eternally living in the moment. He doesn't really plan for the future or ruminate on the past. Oh, now I'm not sure if I'm still recording. Sorry about that. The camera got like a heat warning and shut itself off. So I've got the AC on, windows down. So hopefully it's not too loud, but there we go. We were on number 8, originality, okay? Consider the uniqueness, blah, 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 I already read it. Like I said, it was written in the present tense, so that was very unique, certainly. Which I did like, actually. At first I wasn't sure, I was ambivalent, and then I really did like it. I think it was a good choice. Anyway, originality, let's say in terms of plot, originality, yeah, it wasn't super anything crazy, but it was fun. So originality, let's say 7 out of 10. Number 9, emotional impact. I am not an emotional guy. I don't really get moved emotionally by books very much, so we have to rate that with that in mind. Now, the entirety of the book wasn't super emotional until maybe the end, because he dies, obviously, so that's very emotional. But emotions aren't always negative, right? The book is very funny, so, I mean, I'm emotionally engaged because I'm laughing. And of course, I was charmed by Mr. Johnson. I've said that several times, which I suppose is an emotion. Being charmed is an emotion, right? So emotional impact, let's say 7 out of 10. Okay, last one here, number 10, entertainment value. Assess how enjoyable or entertaining the book was for you personally. Super entertaining, okay? It wasn't like a Garfield comic or a Calvin and Hobbes, okay? So it's not a 10 out of 10, but it is very entertaining. So let's say 9 out of 10. Mr. Johnson, I mean, the story is very quixotic, okay? Whoa, literary term.
Oh my God, it's Albert Einstein.
Wow, brain fart. Don Quixote, right? That's where the term comes from. It's very episodic, right? He kind of goes from one thing to the next. What is he getting into now? He's very like naive and kind of stupid. What's the next thing he's going to do? That's so dumb. And Mr. Johnson's kind of the same way. So if I may use the word quixotic, he's always, what is the next thing Johnson's going to do? What is he going to get involved in next? He's like from one thing to another, from the frying pan into the fire, right? So anyways, yes, 9 out of 10 for entertainment value. Otherwise, yes, this is my newest 5 out of 5 star book. I recommend it to anyone. What is it on the objective rating scale? Well, we'd have to do some math. I don't even remember what I gave everything. So maybe I'll just put it up on the screen, what it was out of 100. But yeah, thanks to Prose and Petticoats for the rating scale. And yes, please add Mr. Johnson to your reading list. Anyways, thanks for watching, listening, whichever you're doing, and see you next time.